if you consume this type of content as far as like self-help or understanding, and you seek answers into your life, a lot of times what's going to happen is that you're going to find yourself having to let go of certain phases, of certain things in your life. You gotta move on. You gotta let things go. And when you let emotions go, when you let patterns go, when you let relationships and memories or anything of the sort go, you're gonna find yourself with a void. And that's also a tip there kind of thing. It's also an insight, because in a way, a lot of times we actually attach ourselves in the first place to these things because of that void that we're trying to fill. And the truth is that the void will always be there. And the void can be embraced and allow you to accept life for everything that it is and everything that it does. But at the same time, you can approach it with fear. And that's like everything else in life. It could be fear, it could be love. And so when you approach it with fear, now you're trying to feel it. Now you're trying to do everything to not feel that, like not feel that lack of stuff. And that's a dangerous place to be, because you're no longer in control. You're reactive to life. And I'm saying all this to say that when you do let go of these things, when you are able to progress from things, it's normal to feel a certain way afterwards. It's normal for you to struggle for a while, to understand and to live some type of confusion, because as you let go, now you don't have those patterns no more. Now life isn't as repetitive as it used to be, and you find yourself having to ask, okay, well, what do I focus on now? How do I move on? How do I, what do I do now? And you got to give yourself time is really the answer, right? You got to allow yourself the time to be able to say, well, okay, well, that's gone. Like, now I don't no longer do this. Now what do I do? It's like somebody who's addicted to something, right? All these patterns, all these type of things. You end up having to find something else to fill the void, the time that's empty now with. What do you do instead of smoking, right? It's like, what do you do instead of crack? What do you do instead of porn? What do you do instead of whatever? And the same thing with these patterns, with these emotions, with these things. And I think that's interesting to think about, but also something that sometimes we're not aware of. And if we're not aware of it, it could be scary, because we end up falling back, because these things become part of our identity. They become part of the things that we like, okay, well, I guess this is me. I guess this is what I do. I guess this, that, the other. And it doesn't have to be, You don't have to live as somebody who thinks of themselves as being depressed, or thinks of themselves as being somebody who's anxious or whatever. That's just an identity you sort of created, right? And that's something to be, cautious about, because of the repercussions that it has on life as a whole.